new Western themed mod has just appeared on the Nexus called Unforgiven, which is a fully voiced standalone remake of an expansion of his first mod called Injustice for All. Now this is located just right at the back of the strip on a notice board, and that's how you get it going. You just click the note and you'll be able to continue this quest on. So let's see what this mod is about and see what it's all for. This actually just includes a bunch of new armors and weapons and choice-based quests. So this is the note here, an official warrant and an arrest for Johnson J. Samuels, also known as the Black Jack. So we're going to try and figure out where this guy is. I'm going to go on a bit of a spiral down on how to find this guy, and it will take us to multiple locations. So you do get a bunch of notes like this in the game, and you will be rewarded 5,000 bottle caps if we can find and kill this guy. So in a way, it's kind of reminding me of New Vegas bounties, but it's all note based at the moment. So let's go to the first location, which is Novak, and this is the location of apparently where Blackjack is. We're going to go and figure out what's happened to him or kill him. So after searching all of Novak, I've found this little shack here right at the back of the town, and this is apparently where we need to go. So we're going to go inside here and figure out where Blackjack is. So at the moment, looks like we've actually been beaten by a bunch of bounty hunters. So we're going to take this guy out and find some more information on where Blackjack is, or he maybe could be in this room. So further investigation, we actually do find a woman in the bathtub called Sally, and she'll actually have more information on her further out through this quest. And then we also get a note of this bounty hunter here, which is called Billy, which will take us to the next location of Jack's friend. So we might find more information, taking out a few powder gangers that are located just outside the building. This is the little house we need to go inside of to find more information about Jack's friend and Jack in general. So we're going to take these guys down and we're going to figure out where the hell this Jack guy is. It takes us a little bit on a rabbit hole on where to find this guy, and we're actually getting more information on Jack's friends. Now upon entering this house, it's very darkly lit and it's kind of spooky as well. So as soon as we enter the back bedroom, we do actually find a dead deceased man right in the back corner who's naked, and a terminal as well. So let's try and figure out what's happened, and this probably is potentially Jack's friend. So it looks like the bounty hunters have taken these guys down in search for Jack. So we actually need to find a key card to access his terminal. I'm going to find a bit more information on what this guy is about, and basically information about Jack and other people he's associated with. So you get a bit of information here about Jack and his hat, and this woman called Cuda here, or dude called Cuda. And yeah, this would pretty much give us the next location, which is at the Monte Carlo Suites. And yeah, we can find a bit more information on Jack. So we're going to search this terminal here, and it gives you a bit of lore to this character and what happened to him. But now we're going to head over to Monte Carlo Suites and see who this Cuda person is and their posse, and maybe we might be able to find a bit more information on where Jack is, or potentially Jack could actually be located inside of here. So entering this building, it's very darkly lit, and we're going to come across a bunch of scorpions, Cuda and her friends, or his friends. I don't actually remember if it was a dude or not. But yeah, we're going to take these guys down, and we'll probably potentially find a bit of information on Jack as well. So these guys are pretty tough, so make sure you bring some decent weaponry to take these guys down. And yeah, Cuda and her posse are here, and we're going to take them down. So after searching this area and taking down Cuda, we would actually get a key to unlock this back room here. And entering this room, we find a bunch of corpses strewn across. It's very eerie and actually quite dark and unsettling. So yeah, there's two dead bodies here, and we actually do find a journal on the side of one of these guys, and a bit more information on Jack and his posse as well. So we need to go to the Atomic Wrangler and a bit more information on this next person we need to find, so we can get one step closer to Jack. So Atomic Wrangler in Freeside is our next location. We're actually getting a bit of information on this dude called Locke, which actually play a bigger part in this story quest. Now heading to Freeside to the Atomic Wrangler, that's our next location on where Jack is, or maybe potentially where this guy called Locke is. So we're going to head inside and see what's it about. So we actually come across a bunch of more bounty hunters in this dude called Rick, and he has another note on him about a Freeside guild that's been found. So Rick is this guy here, and I don't know really what links he's got with Jack or the bounty hunters, but the guys were searching for him. But reading this note is about a 14-year-old girl that was murdered and sexually assaulted. As you can see, that's the reason I put the warning at the very beginning of the video, because it does actually explore some dark themes throughout this quest mod that some people might actually find quite unsettling. All these characters throughout this note are actually linked further in this quest mod as well, so it kind of gives you a bit of insight and a bit of story behind some of these characters and their motivations and the reason they're doing these things. So yeah, pretty disturbing little note here, but we're going to continue on to find the next location for Jack. Heading on to Good Springs, we get this guy called Vulture.
Maybe. Vultures do tend to see everything, but they aren't known for their generosity, if you catch my drift. Alright, I'll talk. Jeez. Yeah, I saw some guys come through here a couple hours ago. First was some cowboy motherfucker with a goddamn chainsaw. Stayed right out of his way. He was followed by a bunch of thug types. Real cunty looking, especially their leader. They all went towards Yangtze if you wanted to join the party.
So the first use of voice acting is actually pretty superb. I've got to say, the voice actor for this character, Vulture, is actually pretty top notch, so I'm expecting pretty more decent voice acting throughout this quest mod. So yeah, we're going to head into this next shack here. We're going to make sure our weapon's loaded, just in case we're going to jump into a firefight. Entering another darkly lit room, there's a bunch of bounty hunter corpses strewn across this place, and we actually do find one bounty hunter alive.
Who are you? Scavenger or... No, you're a bounty hunter too, huh? Well, you're too late. My bastard of a boss chopped Jack's head a while ago. Probably already at Gomorrah, pissing away all we died for. Locke. I knew he'd get me killed one day. Guess that makes me the idiot for not leaving when I had the chance, huh?
So we find out Locke was the man that was hunting Jack as well and actually cut his head off with a chainsaw. We do find another journal here that gives us a bit more information about Jack and his past. And now we actually are going to come across Locke in the Gomorrah. So we're going to figure out who this guy is and what his plans are.
I ain't got any spare caps, kid. So piss off. Who? I don't know any Jacks. Oh, you're talking about that bounty, aren't you? Sorry, kid. Should have been faster. If it makes you feel any better, I already lost most of the reward in that last hand. Answers? About what? About the bounty? I didn't know, Jack, kid. Didn't care. Only the dead give a shit about the dead. Are we cross or something? Were you a friend of Jack's? Pull a piece on me, and everyone else in here is pulling a piece on you. I'm an upstanding officer of justice, after all. So why don't you suck up whatever's got you so raw, and move the fuck on like everyone else?
So his voice acting is actually pretty top notch as well, and we actually do get our first choice on either to kill Locke or leave the Gomorrah. So what we're going to do is leave the Gomorrah, because I actually did try the other choice, and it pretty much ends the quest line there, and you cannot really continue on, because Locke does actually play a big part in this quest line. So going back to the bounty board, we get 2 more bounties and pretty much 2 wanted posters that we can figure out who these next guys are we need to find. So the first ones are the Red Devils. They are pretty much a group of NCR soldiers that are pretty much branched off, and they are kind of doing their own thing. So we're pretty much told to hunt these guys down, which are pretty dangerous. And then also we get another wanted poster, pretty much about the NCR recruiting outside contractors to do some of the dirty work. So we're going to choose both of these, and we're going to go to the next location, which is inside the MP office, to find a bit more information about this wanted poster that we've received here.
Technically, I lead a reserve unit. If any field units require reinforcements, I'm the one they call. That really hasn't happened, though. And Brass doesn't like idle hands, so they named me bounty officer in the meantime. I hire and pay outside contractors to take care of business we're too busy for. I'm out of work. The last contractor I hired was the last one I needed. Took care of every job I had in record time. I guess that's what happens when you hire a legend. Locke. The Locke. You know, the Skinwalker tribe, Blackjack Samuels. That was all Locke, baby. Best bounty hunter of our generation. Absolute honor to work with him. Sorry, buddy. I already tried. He doesn't do them. Even if he did, I have no... We never really discussed anything besides our work. The last job I gave him was for an apartment filled with fiends in outer Vegas. You could try looking there, I guess.
So Sergeant Walker says Locke is located in these apartment buildings here. And yeah, something crazy happens. We've actually been knocked out by these slavers, and there's a woman in the corner of the room. We're going to try and investigate and see what the hell's happened, and the reason why this woman is in the room as well. And is this Locke, or is it some other mysterious people, like slaves that have taken us hostage? Now my character is naked. We're going to figure out where this voice is coming from in the corner of the darkly lit room.
How's your head? You probably fell for the same trap I did, and tripped a wire that set off a stun grenade. You were out cold when the slavers dragged you in here 10 minutes ago. So nice of them to give me some company. Is that right? Why you after him? Couldn't have said it better myself. Locke must be a popular guy, because I'm looking for him too. Been looking for a long time. Walked a whole lot of miles and dropped a whole lot of bodies just trying to pick up his trail. And I came so goddamn close. I overheard the slavers talking the other day. One of them mentioned a town nearby, Gravestone. One thought about looting it, but another cut him off. Said that was Locke's town, that they shouldn't fuck with it.
So we find out she's actually looking for Locke as well, and we find out also that we're actually being kidnapped by a bunch of slaves. So we're going to grab our gear back, escape from this room. We found a bit of information on what these guys do. So they're pretty much just human traffickers. You get a lot of information here on this terminal. And now after we've dealt with these guys, we're going to go to the town that she was talking about where Locke might be located. So after dealing with these guys, we get a nice little slideshow on her background and where she's came from and the reason she's looking for Locke.
Born to a tribe called the Skinwalkers. And no, we didn't actually wear the skin of our enemies. We just liked looting our enemies' stuff. And we had no shortage of them. Caesar's Legion, the 80s, Vipers, and who knows how many other gangs. We were forever at war with the rest of the wasteland. We knew no other way. There was none. Which was why we fired on a bunch of heavily armed strangers approaching our camp uninvited. Only killed a few, just to drive the rest off. I was hunting the day it happened. Wasn't home. Came back to find everyone shot and stabbed to shit. Everyone. Even my dad. An old man who couldn't harm a bloatfly. I found his head on a pole, with a little note pinned to it. It said that what I saw before me was the wrath of Locke and Ramsey, and that anyone who threatened the Republic would meet the same fate.
So we actually find out Locke and Ramsey actually murdered her old tribe and her father, cut his head off and stuck it to a pole. So this is a bit of a revenge story. So she's out for revenge for killing her old tribe, the Skinwalkers. Now we're going to go to the town where Locke apparently lives. We're going to talk to the townsfolk.
Oh, it's a cute little town with good people. Not much work for a doctor, though.
I can't complain. Some of the young'uns may find it boring. But after my time in the service, I've come to appreciate boring.
Oh, not much. I'm sort of the town's handyman. If something breaks, I fix it. And when I'm not fixing stuff, I'm just relaxing at home.
Basically, it's my job to bring criminals to court and represent their victims in a professional and unbiased manner.
It sucks. There's no one to really talk to, nothing to really do. I miss living on the strip.
Low and quiet, which is fine. See, I used to be a bartender at the Tops. It was fun for a spell, but it wasn't the right environment to raise a kid in, so now we're here.
Gravestone doesn't really serve any strategic value, but we owed a pretty heavy debt to its founders, Ramsey and Locke. So, placing it under our protection. They're war heroes, even if they never wore the uniform. They've saved countless troopers' lives, and avenged twice as many more. That's right. We could use a hand finding a missing person. Dale's son, Jason, vanished. Found no obvious signs of a struggle. So most likely the boy just struck. Still, he didn't leave behind. Speak to Dale.
Can you believe that fat fuck is gonna praise that baby murderer and then ask us to work for them?
So finding a bit of information that Locke and Ramsey are actually founders of this town and they all love these guys. And yeah, she's pretty pissed off about that. We're giving some help to try and figure out where this Jason guy is. So we're going to do this and follow this lead because it's the only lead that we've actually got. So pretty much the entire townsfolk love Ramsey and Locke. But then Griffith absolutely hates him for what pretty much Locke and Ramsey did to her family. But this is the only lead we got, so we're going to try and find this Jason guy so we can get a bit closer to Locke and his location. I've got to say the voice acting for all the characters in this town are pretty top notch as well. Other than probably Roger, because I feel like he's got a bit of a British accent. It kind of doesn't really fit. I won't say it's the worst, but it's alright. And yeah, I just got to say, he's probably the weakest out of the other voice actors, in my opinion. But yeah, Penny as well is very, very annoying. But I'm assuming that she's younger and it's meant to be like that, but she's just got a very irritating tone. And then I've got to say, the first bounty hunter we came across who died when we spoke to him in the shack, I've got to say, when he was doing his bit of voice lines, he was very staticky and it wasn't very great quality. The voice actor might be great, but he was very staticky and it wasn't very good quality compared to all the other characters in this mod. But overall, the voice acting is pretty much top notch. And for the record, I'm not trying to say Roger's voice acting is terrible. I just don't think his accent kind of fits that well. But I guess if they're going for that kind of character and he's a bit posh sounding, then fair enough. But I just think personally it doesn't fit that quite well into that like Western theme. Anyways, let's carry on and try and figure out where Jason is.
Alright. It'd be cruel to leave a parent in the dark about their own child. The Mojave Outpost, most likely. They said they wanted to move to California, and you can only reach there through the outpost.
I think Father Hugo's voice acting is not the greatest. It sounds like he's trying to put a deep accent on. And yeah, this kind of sounds a bit funky sounding. So we're going to head to the Mojave Outpost and find out where Jason's gone to.
Oh shit. I never thought anyone would actually come all this way. Listen, I'm sorry. I was going to ride home eventually, but I had to get my wife out of there ASAP. There weren't no time for goodbyes. Besides, telling everyone the truth would have just made things worse between the town and the tribe. Her name's Helena. We met back when her tribe were still semi-friendly with us, before the NCR moved in. Her English was spotty back then, so I offered to teach her. We met for lessons every day and just kind of hit it off from there. When tensions grew between the town and the tribe, we kept meeting in secret. After I met Father Hugo, we got married in secret too. Anything but the truth. The whole reason we kept quiet about it was to avoid stirring up more trouble. Here, take my old hat. Make up whatever story you want, but be sure to tell him I'm okay.
Sweet baby Jesus, you really found it, huh? But since it's his hat, you know, I always told him not to get into that business. I haven't done it myself.
So we actually find out Jason's run away to the Mojave Outpost and is heading to California with a Suncrow girl. We are now tasked to take down the Red Devils by Ranger Teasel, and pretty much these are the guys that you actually collected a bounty for in the strip. So we're going to take these guys down. This is a nice little side quest. Take some NCR outcasts down, and it pretty much just gives you a bit more rep from Ranger Teasel, and he will let you carry on to the next quest. So quite like this little side quest, you pretty much just take down these NCR outcasts, and it's these guys you found on the bounty board right before you came to this graveyard town. And yeah, when you actually head back to the ranger station shack, he will give you another little quest. There's a bit of dialogue in here with one of the other NPCs, pretty much talking about a bunch of cowboys that are located just outside the town, and they're actually trying to find someone who killed their brother. So we're going to try and investigate on the person who actually killed these guys' brothers. And they've got a nice little bit of dialogue. The voice acting again is pretty top tier, top notch voice acting, and I do like this little band of cowboys. Let's see what they have to say.
We just want to see Wyatt. My name's Bill Dalgo. These are my sons, Ike and Johnny, and a few of our Brahmin hands. And our business with Wyatt has to do with the only son who isn't here with me today, Carl. 6 months ago, Carl was shot dead at the Atomic Wrangler by Wyatt, so we've come for justice.
So Bill is that pissed off and that angry about Wyatt killing his brother that his head's fucking spinning around on his shoulders. And I don't know if this is just because it's just my game or it's the actual little quest that's making his head spin like this. So I've got to say this is maybe just the first bug that I've encountered, but it's nothing crazy. It's quite funny actually.
Making fun of me, saying how I couldn't hold my liquor. I don't know why he was picking on me, but I remember people started laughing.
So you actually find out Wyatt killed his brother because he was drinking too much, and he got pretty pissed off because they were all laughing at him, probably because he has a bit of a stutter. So he ended up killing this guy, and he probably deeply regrets doing so. So we've got to kind of stick up for him here because I do feel a bit sorry for him. So we're going to say to Bill that the NCR are going to serve justice to him and do it the properly way with the courts and all that stuff. And you've got to kind of persuade him because he just wants vigilante justice and just wants to kill him straight up. Whereas the NCR don't want to do that and they all want to do it in a proper way. So we're going to side with the NCR and do it in the properly way. And the other brothers are not very happy with this outcome.
Make things worse, Johnny. The trial.
So the other brothers aren't very happy that we're going to put Wyatt on trial and not just straight up kill him. So then speaking to the ranger again, we get a note off the Sun Crows saying they want the daughter back, which is the daughter who ran off with Jason earlier on. So we're going to go to speak to this guy and see what his problem is, because he says he's going to wreak havoc on the town. The ranger mentions to us this tribe has a fat man and mini nukes, which they will use on the town if they provoke him anymore. We'll get into that further later in the video.
Just as I'd expect from a negotiator. My daughter would never trust one of the bear. I raised her better than that. I will not ask again. Hand her over, or Gravestone will burn. Is that the truth? You're not holding my daughter captive in your little village? If so, then why shouldn't I blow it to pieces for letting her slip through your grasp? Oh ho ho, a real threat. No hiding behind insinuations or subtext here. I think I might like you. Say, that does give me an idea, too.
So one of the ways to keep peace between the tribe and the town is fight their best champion. So we end up going point in this arena here, and you can select what kind of weapon you want to fight against with him, and pretty much you just need to take this guy down, and then you can keep the peace between the two factions. Now it's fairly simple. This guy wasn't actually that hard to beat. I don't know if it was my level, but he was fairly simple to beat. So we end up taking this guy down, and I've got to say the voice actor for the actual tribe's leader is very, very good. I really enjoy his voice acting, and he's a very good character as well. He's probably my favourite in this entire mod. One thing to say as well, if I've not pointed out, this tribe actually has a fat man and a bunch of mini nukes, so they kind of hold the town hostage in a sense, whereas if the town actually does anything bad, they'll just say they'll nuke the entire town, so they're kind of scared of this tribe, so they can kind of have a bit of a power trip over the town because of that reason. So after keeping the peace, we go back to the ranger shack, and we find out that Penny is gone.
I think she ran off to the strip. My ticket is missing. I think she took it. Can one of you please get my daughter back before she gets involved with the wrong people? I can't get onto the strip myself without my ticket.
So pretty much Penny is the girl I spoke about earlier who has that really annoying voice, and I'm assuming she's a younger character, but she's gone to the Gomorrah to become some sort of like model or some performer. It doesn't really go into detail on what she's doing, but I'm assuming it's not very friendly stuff, so we're going to go over there and try and save her, but we end up finding out she really doesn't want to go, and the producer's a bit of an arsehole. When you speak to him, he's a proper cunt, and his voice acting is very good as well, where it actually makes you hate the guy, because I fucking hated that dude so much.
Listen,
You can offer me the whole wasteland if you want. If Penny still wants to film with me, it changes nothing. Well, nothing besides making you poorer. And frankly, you look like you need every cap you can get. I have people for that.
So as you can see, he's a bit of an arrogant bellend, and you can see what kind of operation he's got going here. So you get the decision on to save Penny or pretty much shoot your way out of the Gomorrah. And I actually chose the wrong decision in a sense, because I ended up letting her stay there just because I didn't want to have bad reputation with the Immortals or Murters, because I'm actually with their faction in this playthrough and I didn't want to take them down. But obviously the choice I chose is probably the most fucked up choice, because you're kind of assuming that she's doing some over 18 adult kind of stuff. But yeah, you can either choose to save her and shoot your way out of the Gomorrah, or you can pretty much let her stay there. But it's completely up to you, and you get those two choices, so it actually adds to the story of this quest. But when you go back to the actual town, everyone's dead and everyone's been massacred. What the fuck's gone on here? So in a way, sending her back to the town, would she have died? I don't actually know, because I never even tried it. But I'm guessing she didn't, because if you brought her here, everyone would have been dead, and she would have been very upset. As you can see, the ranger has also been murdered as well, and I'm assuming this is the Suncrow, so let's find out what the hell happened.
Now, wait. I remember you. You visited the MPHQ not too long ago. What are you doing here? This is no place for civilians. You're the sheriff? Well, where the fuck have you been? The town's gone. Destroyed. And before you ask, we don't know who's responsible yet. My team only just arrived, but whoever it was, they killed everyone.
You kids lost or something? Excuse me? Well, would you look at that? And here I thought Tessa was gonna wait on me forever. You should have, considering everyone died on your watch. Drinking, whoring, other not-so-sheriff-like activities. That's why I didn't accept the job, because I knew I wasn't fit for it, just like you. But you got a point. So why don't we stop pointing fingers at each other and start pointing our guns at some tribals instead? Was it the body that gave it away? Yeah, they've been looking for an excuse to do something like this since day one. Knew they were trouble. Should have gutted them all when I had the chance.
So we find out the Suncrows massacred everyone in the town, but what the hell happened? Because we actually struck a bit of a peace treaty with the Suncrows. So we ended up having to do an assault on their little fort here and ended up killing all of their people inside of this little compound. But we ended up not finding the actual chief himself, but we actually do get one survivor and we interrogate them. But why did they attack us? We don't actually know as of now. But yeah, we're going to try and figure out why they actually killed everyone in the town. There's got to be a reason.
Correct. There should be more of them. A lot more. Don't worry though. Just 15 minutes along with this little chickadee here, and she'll tell me where they went. Fair warning though, she might get loud. Hope you all brought ear protection.
So you can see Locke is very evil in a sense, because he's going to pretty much just torture Bershka. So we're going to try and help her out and try and get a bit of information on where the actual rest of the tribe went. And we're going to have high charisma here, and we're going to try and persuade her and give us the information just so she doesn't get skinned and absolutely tortured by Locke. Because we don't want that. We're going to be trying to be as nice as possible. So if you've got a high speech tech and high charisma, you'll be able to achieve this. And then she'll actually be able to give you the location of the rest of her tribe and her chief. So we're going to actually get this information out of her, and we find out that they're located in a tunnel, which is also a new location, which is pretty cool. That I like this mod. Actually adds new little locations that go with the quest. So you get obviously the main town in this mod, and then you get a bunch of little tiny locations like the tribes camp and this metro tunnel that we're going to go into now. After getting the information out of Bershka nice and peacefully without skinning her alive, Sergeant Walker pretty much congratulates us because we didn't have to skin her or torture her alive. So that's a good little bonus. So yeah, pretty much Locke's a bit of a nut job. Anyways, after that we go to the actual metro tunnels with these NCR rangers and soldiers, and we take down the rest of the tribe. It's pretty solid, this section, because there is quite a lot of them, and the NCR troopers will get absolutely demolished, including Sergeant Walker. So you're in a tight little knitted metro tunnel here, and you're pretty much taking on all of the Red Rams and the tribe members in this tunnel here. And yeah, it's a fairly good firefight, and I did quite enjoy it. But right at the end of the tunnel, we will find the chief himself.
Well, if it isn't the diplomat. Though this time, you didn't come hiding behind lies. This time, you came to die. You gave us no choice. Your infamous Locke lived up to his reputation, caught us off guard and caved in the tunnel with explosives. A deceptively stupid tactic, since now he's given us no choice but to fight to the very end. We will lose. I accepted that long ago. But in the process, Locke will die. Why am I doing this? I didn't choose this war. You did! Do you really think I'd surrender after you took our mini-nukes? That I'd just wait and watch as we're all conquered and killed? No! The Suncrows will die fighting. Enough of the...
So pretty much now we need to take Zuma down, and it's kind of a shame because I did quite like his character and I didn't really want him to go out this way. There is 3 different endings to this story, so I don't know if there is another option where you can actually spare him. I'm not too sure on that, but just download the mod and you can maybe try and find a different ending that's slightly different to mine, because there is 3 different variations of endings. Now after the firefight, Locke is pretty much injured and he's gone to his brother's grave, and this is probably the best chance we've got to take down Locke.
Quiet. Yeah. Got a little reckless back there. Emotional. Doesn't happen often. But I've had worse. Funny you should ask, because I was looking for those when I snuck up on them. I needed to make sure they didn't get the chance to use their fat man, but they didn't have the ammo anyway. What do you think? Lucky? Or was it the grace of God? Well, it wasn't me. If I took them, I would have used them to kill them all. Which ones? Really? A hussy who married and defended a mass murdering outlaw? That's what you did all this for? Track me down to the ends of the wastes, find an entire army of savages, and who knows what else. All to wait for the right moment when I'm lone and weak. Ha! You're good, kid. Dumb as hell, but good. If you're trying to pry some gil out of me, it ain't gonna work. 'Cause I only regret not killing more. Not killing the Sun Crow sooner, and not killing you and your little friend.
After killing Locke, Griffith basically feels the same, and she doesn't feel any different after killing Locke, because that was a revenge story and she didn't really feel any different after killing him. So she ends up going to another location, we've got to follow her, and she gives us some juicy information that's a bit of a twist to the story.
You deserve to know what happened to them. I took the Sun Crow's mini-nukes. While everyone was distracted with your duel, I found them and tossed them in my pack. Still got him. Because I knew they'd blame Gravestone. Zuma was chomping at the bit for an excuse to destroy that town. Because it wasn't good enough just to take Locke's life, give him a peaceful death like his brother. No. I needed him to experience the same agony he left me with. To take away the only other thing he had besides his worthless life. No. Me and my men are going for the throat. California.
So the crazy little twist is that Griffer actually stole the mini nukes and it wasn't Locke, so that made the Suncrows attack the town and pretty much massacre everyone in the town, thinking that the town was going after the Suncrows. So in a way, Griffer is somewhat evil because she basically just got an entire town murdered, just pretty much out of spite and revenge over Locke, and she didn't really like the townsfolk either. So we're going to take her down now and her whole crew, because they said they were going to go to California and pretty much murder anyone who's a part of the NCR or any NCR citizens. So we're not going to stand for that. Even though I did like Griffer, you can't do that. She's a fucking psycho bitch. So we'll take her down, and then pretty much right at the end of this mod, you get a nice little slideshow on all the endings you've chosen. So depending on who you've killed and who you've saved, it will pretty much tell you right at the end, just like as you complete the main game, and who you've saved and what happened to them after this quest. It's a nice little touch, so you can actually have different ending slides depending on what choices you made throughout the mod. So finally, I want to give my full overview of the mod. I think most of the acting for the voice actors is pretty much very well done. There's a couple of characters that are not the greatest, like the preacher dude and that one bounty hunter. I've got to say Penny was fairly annoying, but I think that's just meant to be how her character is, because she's meant to be a bit younger. But most of the characters, probably about 9% of them, are pretty much well voice acted, and I've got to say they've all done an absolutely fantastic job. The story itself is very good as well, and it probably took me about 3 hours to complete this, and I do like all of the new locations it introduces. Also, a lot of the new armors it also introduces as well, like the NCR Red Devil armor and a bunch others more. So yeah, it's a very good choice-based mod where you can pretty much have different endings depending on your choices, which a lot of quest mods don't do, so you can actually kind of have it like the main story mode where you could have different choices which affect the ending. The quest line, the voice acting, pretty much all the locations and the armors are very well done and very nice. So definitely check this mod out, because it's one of those ones that probably went under the radar that you definitely need to check out. That's it, cocksuckers. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.